Selamat malam. Thank you first of all, PechaKucha, for inviting me. Very honored to be here. Thank you, Pak Mujay, for a very good presentation, and Ibulita for a very inspirational presentation. What I'm going to talk about is basically based on my experience as I graduated from architecture. I was a creative director in New York City, working for Pfizer Pharmaceuticals, and also working for investment banking. But I'm going to share my definition of creativity based on that experience and then based on my recent experience of being a dean at the London School of Public Relations. Okay? Okay, first of all, we have here one of the most creative people I think in the world right now. Right? Now, actually I'm a Real Madrid fan, okay? But I have to admit, right, Lionel Messi, he's not the strongest, he's not the fastest, but he's the most creative person with the football. Alright? And he started at a young age. I want to re-emphasize that. Creativity starts young. Now here with this slide, I'm trying to emphasize that you cannot be creative as a committee. It's a very individual, inspirational aspect where creativity comes from within. Now here's one of my favorite paintings of all time. This is Mr. Maverick from 1912, the knife grinder. And creativity is about looking at the world differently and then expressing what you see and hoping that other people will see the same thing. Now, most of my students who come into London School have this sort of education where it's one way, right? So I'm very happy to see that in Korea it has a very different way of teaching. So what we have is we have a speaker, and then the students just chit-chatting to themselves, absorbing information. But here, in the Western style of teaching, you notice the students, they're left to their own to discover how to solve a problem. The teacher maybe is giving one-on-one observation or consultation. Again, we have this one-way sponge approach with education, right? Which I think is good for some things, but might not be so good for other things. That's just my point of view. The sponge. So, today, like I was teaching today, I was telling my students, you just cannot absorb data. There's Wikipedia, there's Google Scholar. You don't need me for that information. You don't need to absorb that. You can find that on your own time. But I want you to learn how to learn. How to be more active and engaging in what you're learning, right? Not just absorbing data, and then when the midterm comes, you throw it back at me, right? So I tell them, please, be active, right? Interactive with your education. So I call that panning for gold, where you have to look and actually search out what is important to you as a student, right? It's not easy. It's totally non-passive. This is from Wyden and Kennedy. Now, I put this up here because actually each of these are push pins. These are 100,000 push pins that these students put up, right? And the idea is that failure is acceptable. Now, unfortunately, in our culture here in Asia, failure is not acceptable. So, why do I put failure here? Because if you look in Silicon Valley, the culture accepts failure, right? The network, they encourage failure as part of the learning process to be creative, right? So, people like, in Silicon Valley create Facebook. And I think Indonesia is number 4 Facebook community population in the world, right? And then with Facebook is Twitter. And actually Jakarta is the number 1 tweeting city in the world also. Now, what's very curious to me, right, is that these very individual creators or entrepreneurs in America, right, are creating this technology that's very much accepted. See, there you go, number one. Jakarta is even higher than Tokyo in that sense. Okay? So what I'm saying is that this culture where failure is accepted is creating this technology, this social media, that's being accepted by the cultures that really do not encourage failure in a way. Now Google's a problem for me in my school. Because you give an assignment in the school, and then the students are saying, do is go to Google, and then they copy paste, right? So there's a two-way edge to it. Google's good, and then Google can be bad. So, but see, the medium is neutral. It's how you use it. Now, what I wish Indonesia and Jakarta had more of were places like this, the Museum of Modern Art in New York, where people can go and be inspired. Not just be inspired by some great teachers, right? But unfortunately, the greater emphasis in Jakarta is on this. So I think there has to be some recalibration of what we place in importance in the values of our culture and our society in Indonesia and in Jakarta. And then also we need more places like this for people to play, kids and adults, where they can discover creativity through physical motion, right? As well as joining a dance school. This is actually in Japan, right? This is free. Lollipop, you gotta pay $100,000 a weekend, yeah? And now here is the great reading room of the New York Public Library, also free. We need more of this to inspire people, right? To be creative, to make Indonesia better. And then the last thing I want to share, curiosity, discovering on your own as an individual, along with your other friends and your co-workers, is just as important as anything else, as well as facilities and your mentors. Okay? That's all for me. Thank you very much.